Okay, I'd like to welcome the public to our committee of conference here on HB 1661. We apologize for the AC not working in this room. It is a little bit hot and warm in here. Summer arrived. So with that, we have a huge bill in front of us here. So let's start with the committee of conference. We have today Senator Hennessy, Senator D'Alessandro, Senator Bradley, myself, Representative Umberger, Representative Turcott, and Representative Cordelli on this committee of conference. Does anybody have any pearls of wisdom for us before we start? Good. We also have a side-by-side here, which has been handed out. It's been put together by Jennifer Four, who is the researcher for this particular group and for the House. Let's start off right at the top of this bill and work our way down through it, please. I'm trying to find the original bill here. Okay, so would everybody be good with just starting off with the original bill, 1661, see if we can agree with that? And there is an amendment which parallels that. What happened is that when we approved this in the Education Committee in the House, it was approved 19 to zip, went to the House floor, was approved on consent calendar, no objections to the CTE bill. CTE bill has several purposes. One, it aligns scheduling between the sending schools and the receiving center. We have students missing a lot of days because calendars are not aligned, and we finally have gotten something together here to try to help that out. And secondly, it allows pupils to get credit for the graduation credit through the CTE course or program which they are taking. This has restricted some from participating in these skill pathways. They have to remain behind in the sending high school to receive that one credit they need for a Carnegie unit to get out of the school. Now they can, it's going to be embedded in as a competency in a course or through that CTE program. The amendment which you see there clarifies how that competency is to be approved. We had initially that it could be done by the State Board of Education as well. That state board is out of this. It's up to the local school district, school board, who approves the graduation credits for that school district, and the receiving center through the RCTEA, the agreement to work out the competencies, how they're going to be dealt with at the center. It's something that's really needed. We worked with the directors. They all were good with that. And
I would like to move amendment 2022-1998H.
is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion made to approve amendment 1998H to 1661, made by Representative Umberger and second by Representative Cordelli. Further discussion?
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Senator Hennessy is on Senate Education. Look okay to you?
Yes, thank you.
So I would move the Senate concur with the House amendment. As long as you're all right.
I think it's
So both groups are now in agreement on that. Okay, so we can concur Senate and House to this amendment to the main bill. Let's move on down. From my buried in this stuff. Okay. Yeah, we're dealing with now the legislative parking garage addition, which also came out of the House Finance and approved by the House. Any discussion on that?
I would move that the House accede to the Senate position of 9.35 million.
I would ask that we wait on that. I think we support the parking garage. I want to make it clear, but I think that discussion, we may want to talk about changing the 9.3.
If I
Go ahead.
if I might. I believe that the the House thinks that we will have time after the engineering study is completed and the work is that we're ready to start building, that there will be ample time and dollars available to build the garage.
Further discussion?
I would just ask we defer on that. I don't see that there's a problem, but
Okay.
So we're good to deferring it, and it's, so we're at the place where we're all accepting of the,
I think the question is there some other number than 9.3 that we may want to agree upon?
so then let's move beyond this now and get into the remainder of the bill. Senator Bradley knows where there's some oil wells.
All right,
Okay,
so if I could, Mr. Chair, I
Yes.
mean, starting on section 8, that is my bill, Senate Bill 430. It is as the Senate passed it. I have spoken with Mr. Williams. There's no opposition to what the House Health and Human Services Committee did and the House Finance Committee did. I don't have that prepared as an amendment, but I believe, Mr. Williams, it was section 29 that there was just one question about if. Nope, not section 29, which is the section we were.
would you please come up to the mic? This, this meeting is being streamed.
Representative Ladd and Senator Bradley.
We got 2 minutes up for make a lot of noise. Welcome.
Thank you. So yes, the department certainly is fine with the provisions as passed by the House by both the Policy Committee as well as the House Finance Committee recommendations. However, there was a provision with the caveat. There was a provision in the bill as passed by the Policy Committee initially that dealt with the confidentiality of information at child protection actions in court proceedings. And under current law, it's a misdemeanor provision for violating that provision, and the House presented an amendment that would change that to a violation. That was the only item that we were hoping your consideration as conferees.
Yes, go ahead.
Which section was that, John?
I believe if you go to the House
It's page 17
in
the
section
bill.
62, at least as it came over from the
I don't
House
know where it
Policy
is.
Committee.
If you look at the bill, it's on page 17.
That is correct. That is correct. And that was section 62 that Senator D'Alessandro referred to.
Okay, are there any comments? Representative Turca?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As far as HB 430 goes, or SB 430, it is our position right now that we would want the House version as amended by the House. It does include a few different variations than the Senate version. The one that the House did pass was sent to the Senate, and that bill was a non-concur. So we, not with the amendment, with the floor amendment? I would ask also that this one, this particular issue be put on hold until we've had a sufficient time to review the side-by-side. We're just getting the side-by-side for the first time. And again, the House amended version that was sent to the Senate and non-concurred didn't contain a chair amendment at the very minimum. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Representative,
can-
Senator Hennessy.
can I ask what page the representative was referring to that he wants to put
Are
on?
you in the side-by-side right now?
Yeah.
So I'm on page 26 on that. If you were talking about, if we were talking about section 62 within the Senate version, no,
That's not the section.
okay,
don't
that's
believe.
not the section.
Mr. Chairman, if I may,
Yes,
I think we have copies of the version as passed by the House that Jeremy will be able to pass out here.
thank you.
I believe it's page 24.
Okay.
This one you're talking about. It's
Okay. Yeah,
there's
okay.
no correspondence.
So if I'm looking at a side-by-side, you'd be looking at page 24. At the top of that page, a House version, section 62, which deals with, shall be guilty of a violation.
Yes, that is correct. In the Senate passed version with all the amendments, it's a different section. That's all. But this is the one where there is a question from the department. They would prefer to keep it at misdemeanor.
Further discussion from the committee of conference members? Go ahead,
Thank you, Mr. Chair. To Senator Hennessy's question on the paper that was just passed out, it would be on page 18 down at the bottom. And again, I haven't had the time to look at the entire side-by-side. I do believe we need more time for that. But at the bottom of page 18, section 64 is the floor amendment that the House added, and that was the one sent over to the Senate, and it was a non-concur. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. It appears that we would
Ca-
like to
may
have
I-
more.
May I
What were you
ask?
saying,
Yeah,
Umberto?
thank you. I guess I'm confused about why we would want that to be a misdemeanor rather than a violation. Is it? Is
Does
it?
the department have a response to that?
Chairman Ladd, in response to Representative Umberger's question, the current law does provide for a misdemeanor provision. It's been in place for several years, and it's worked quite well to protect the confidentiality of the matters involving abuse, neglect, or child protection matter for the court. It protects the privacy of the child, the privacy of the family, and it's something that we feel should still continue to be in place. Although it was provided as an amendment at the House Policy Committee, it never had a full hearing on it because it was determined it was germane to the underlying bill, and perhaps a more robust conversation to review what the consequences could be relative to changing it from a misdemeanor to a violation might include. I do recall that there was some commentary or perhaps confusion that the application of that statute would only be to either parents or parties to the action and not the department. And if you actually have it reviewed by attorney 4, you'll see that it applies to all individuals who are involved in those actions, including the Department of Health and Human Services. So there was some misunderstanding in terms of the scope of its application. Also, for clarity, the department, as I stated, was fine with the bill as it was passed by the House Policy Committee as well as the House Finance. I think to the point of Representative Turcott that there are still some issues, concerns around the floor amendment that was passed in the bill, but I'll leave that to the conferees to discuss that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't think that answered my question. If,
Do you have another question then?
yes, I do.
Go for it.
Yeah. So the department thinks that a misdemeanor will change people's attitude versus a violation. Is that what you're basically saying?
So, for the record, John Williams, the legislative director for Health and Human Services, and the misdemeanor provisions have been in law for some period of time and
I got it.
seem to be serving very well in terms of protecting the confidentiality of those proceedings. The concern is if you back off from a criminal level misdemeanor offense to a violation, which is the equivalent could be of a parking violation, that it would therefore erode the protections around the confidentiality for those proceedings.
Thank you.
Answer your question?
No, but that's okay.
Okay. Representative Bradley?
So is it safe to say
Senator.
on the sections of the bill dealing with Senate Bill 430, with the exception of section 62 in the side-by-side, we are at least tentatively in agreement?
Representative Turcott?
I can't answer that completely, but that is still leaving out section 64 of our floor, which would have been our floor amendment.
And section 64 was, I think it was House Bill 1044.
I don't recall off the top of my head, Senator, but it's on, like I say, it's on page 18 there, starting 64, residential care and health facility licensing, and talks about the facility operating as a membership-based business. That's the paragraph. Whoop, excuse me, the
Right.
paragraph.
And the Senate killed that bill, so we would have an issue with that.
Thank you.
Further discussion from committee members? So it appears that we are not ready to resolve this issue right now. The House is looking at the position as stated within the bill as amended by the House on page 18. And it appears that the Senate's not on that same wavelength. What about going back to the page on the side-by-side, which is on page 24, dealing with misdemeanor versus violation? Where do we stand on that issue?
I think we would prefer to stay with the current law, which is a misdemeanor. If there's a violation of confidentiality, that there need to be some level of penalty more than a violation.
That's fine with me.
Okay. Who are you talking to then?
What I would say on that, I think we're going to be probably recessing till date in the future to go over some of these others. Maybe that's one, if Representative Umberger still hasn't gotten a satisfactory answer on, maybe we can discuss that one within committee.
I think that's where we'll go. Are there, okay, is there any more discussion on this part of 1661?
May I ask one more question?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman. This is for HHS. Do you have any idea how many misdemeanors have been processed for people not protecting the confidentiality?
That is a very good question. I do not have an answer for it, but I will endeavor to get you an answer.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Right. Guess we are jumping down to any other areas within that bill. The next area is which, I don't have that bill in front of me. I just have the side by side here. Got left upstairs. Yes.
I'd just like to confirm with the Senate, just to make sure we are all on the same page, that HB 1476 and SB 420 have their own separate committees of conference and are not part of this.
Senate Bill
1661.
420 has its own separate committee of conference. 1476, please remind me what that is. Yes, we'll get to bail in a minute, I
Yes,
think, right?
Right.
But it has its own separate
Yes, it
committee
does.
conference. That's, I just wanted to confirm that, so that was not part of this conversation. Thank you.
Well, let's have some conversation. Pardon me? Go ahead. Senator Hennessy, did you have?
I would just ask, Mr. Chair, we will be discussing those because they're in here.
We will
Correct.
get to 420.
Yeah, thank you.
That's where you want to go, right? Extraordinary needs grant?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, Senator Representative Turcotte just mentioned that we do have 420, and that is a bill which deals with exactly what we have here. The House is really of the opinion right now that we should not be addressing 420 in 1661, but dealing with it in the committee conference on 420.
Mr. Chairman, just for Senator Hennessy's clarity, SB 420 has its own committee of conference schedule. So our position would be we don't want to make that part of this discussion. And also HB 1476 has its own committee of conference, so that even though the original, your amendment, including those, since they have their own committees of conference, they aren't going to be a subject of 1661. Does that make sense?
Senator Bradley.
So if I can jump in here, I had a conversation with the speaker a couple of days ago and indicated that I thought the best place to have a discussion about bail issues was in the committee of conference on 1476. So I believe the Senate could agree at this point to basically take sections, it's the top of page 24 in the Senate passed version. It starts on section 80 out of this bill, knowing that the focus is going to be on the other committee of conference, and I think the Senate would accede to that right off the bat. So, but I think in terms of Senate Bill 420, we want to make sure that the underlying bill, the extraordinary grants, is whether it's in this bill or it's in Senator Hennessy's bill, we want to make sure that that moves forward in a way the Senate can support.
I think that in terms of addressing Senate Bill 420 through that committee of conference, we are, I don't want to get into the discussion on that bill right here now, but we are supportive of the extraordinary needs grant but would prefer to discuss that and take action on that in SB 420 Committee of Conference. We see that there may be a need to make a minor adjustment to it. We can address that in terms of accountability, which I think I've also spoken to you previously about, Senator Hennessy, that we had discussed way back in 2018. You weren't on board then when we had the task force led by the representative to my right.
And I would just, since we're discussing it, indicate that the problematic subject matter, whether it's in 1661 or 420, is the education tax credit piece moving to 500% of the federal poverty level. So just so we're all clear where the concern is.
We've also discussed that too, and I think the House is prepared to look at the education tax credit, which is not part of the, education freedom account. It's not anything to do with that. That we would prefer to maybe look at that incrementally over the next biennium.
Then my recommendation would be we just defer any further discussion on 420, knowing that you're going to have a committee or conference, and it seems like that's the right place, just like 1476 is the right place for bail to have those discussions. I think we probably can all agree on that.
I think we agree on that, correct? Everybody looks, yes, we're with you. Okay.
So we're taking out of this amendment bail and those exceptional need grants. Is that right?
Assuming we can come to conclusion on the committee of conference in 420. The bail situation is a little different. I promised the speaker that we'd have an up or down committee of conference on 1476, the bail committee of conference. So we're prepared to relinquish that right now.
But not.
Right, is that an accurate summation of our conversation? Thank you, Sherm.
We have a number of the conferees that are going to be on 420 sitting at this table right now. And I can say that for the conferees that are sitting from the House side, we are prepared to move forward with SB 420, the Education Extraordinary Needs Grant. With what we have is we do have a proposed amendment that provides accountability. You receive this as a school district, inform the department what you're going to do with the money.
Is this the
That's right. That's
Umberger amendment that
uh,
you passed out, Senator Hennessy?
Mr.
that
Chair,
yes.
so the amendment that I passed out was the amendment that Representative Umberger had added on the House side. It's a technical fix versus the accountability fix. So this was, we did not add this to 1661 when we added 420, but we should have. The other piece of 420, the accountability piece that you had added on the House side,
I'm familiar with the
Yeah.
this one right here, the Umberger Amendment dealing with the definition of the equalized
Yeah.
valuation per pupil based upon the
Yeah.
free and reduced eligibility. We got that, and we in fact, I believe it came out of initially from the policy side here in the House.
Okay.
We're good with that.
Okay.
That what I'm talking about is another amendment which we have, and I don't believe I have that because we weren't dealing with it today.
The other piece, I believe you're talking about the, when a school district receives the grant, they have to show that, what they're gonna use the grant for and that they've made improvements.
Senator.
Would you like me to speak about that?
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
I would once again ask that we hold any discussions on 420 until that committee of conference, please.
I've just passed out the language which has been, we will be asking that to be part of 420 to you. It's on this amendment right here, which is just the language which we stripped out of what we already had passed as a house. And somewhere along the way it got lost or didn't get pasted in or added on. It's a part Roman 2 going down there on the bottom of that page. That was designed if we were going to add it in 1661, which we are not going to do. So it would just be from line 17 to 32 on that. That would be the accountability section.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
from what I heard earlier, my understanding was that we were in agreement on 1476, bail not being part of this, but a separate committee of conference. But any discussion of the SB 420 section of 1661 would be on hold, and we would first address the committee of conference for SB 420 itself.
So that's correct.
Okay.
I think it's,
No, and we agree to that.
we, that's been agreed upon.
Okay.
We will be dealing with everything dealing with the extraordinary needs grant in the committee of conference for 420. This was just explaining so that the senators here would be aware that that's where we're going, so we can make a decision on 1661 as to where we're going to go on that. Yeah, go ahead.
If I heard Representative Cordelli and Senator Bradley that they want, according what I'm hearing from the Senate side, is that they want to defer 420 until after the 420 committee of conference. Is that correct?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. So they're not willing to give it up out of here until such time as the committee of conference for 420 is completed.
And that will be on Monday, next.
I can change it to Monday, but right now it's Tuesday. Would you prefer it be Monday?
I gotta look
Oh,
at my calendar here.
Actually, I didn't set that one.
No, that was set by Senator Ward.
Correct, 9:30, Monday.
9:30 Monday.
We can agree to that.
Pardon me?
We can agree to that.
Yeah, I don't see, Senator, I don't see any problems with that. 420 should not be hanging this up right now. 420 looks good to us.
We agree.
Okay. So no more discussion on 420. We've got it. Thank you.
It's on hold until,
Until we deal with it,
Right.
9:30 Monday morning.
that's correct. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. We talked about bail with 1476. Are we missing a component here?
400.
Mr. Chairman, 1476 HB has its own committee of conference.
That's right.
They've already agreed.
Yeah,
so
we've already
Right.
dealt with that.
Right,
So,
exactly.
We have 400.
okay, we have 400. Okay, Representative Umberger, would you like to discuss that?
I'd like to find it.
That's what I'm trying to do too. This is the first time I've seen the side by side. Jen, what page is it on?
Which page? I'm sorry, I couldn't hear. 38. Thank you.
Okay, get in the business of land use board, zoning and workforce housing and the likes.
No, I would not like to say anything other than,
Mr. Chairman, I
yeah,
could certainly,
we did have some issues and,
thank you.
Representative Turcott, go ahead.
Sure. I have a piece of, I guess they match here. So going through the bill from start to finish, starting on section 81, where it talks about the training, we are good with that. Section 82, which talks about the local use board, staff, finance. It's another section that we are okay with, except for section 4 of 83, beginning with if a municipality allows. That we would like to see out. Going down further, section 84. And 85. We are okay with it. We'd like to hear the Senate's take on the 90 days, whether that's adequate, too much, too little. Going
So
down,
you're in section 85 now, correct?
I was, yes.
Okay, is there any reaction to from the Senate regarding the 90 days?
You said you're in section 85.
Page 39?
That's correct. Powers of Zoning Board of Adjustment.
I heard you say you're okay with that.
84,
Yes.
yes. So anyway, you can think about that one. I'm going to continue real quick here.
Okay.
You can go back to that 90-day question. 86, there's a single change in that, talking about subject to age restriction. We are not in favor of that change. 87, section 87. We are good with. Section 88, we are okay with. Getting into section 89, 90, we are not, we would like to see out only because there is a bill and interim study that we believe is a better place to work that section of it. I don't have the bill number on that interim study, but there is one that exists. You guys may know what it is. Going over to the next section, 91.
Well, what about 90?
Did I miss one?
You jumped over 90.
90. Hold on. Zoning hearing appeals. Yeah, that 89 and 90 are both contained in that the interim study bill, so that would also be a no.
Do you have you said you didn't have the interim study?
I don't.
bill number?
I can get it for you.
Okay.
Somebody may know that. Section 91, we are okay with.
Okay.
And 92, 93, we are not okay with.
Is there?
And 94 is also no.
Within 92 and 93, are there specifics that, or it's just,
The sections, yeah.
okay, go ahead.
92, 93, and 94, and then that
Okay,
gets us to the end.
okay. Okay,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
thank you for taking us through that. Would the Senate like to discuss any of those areas that we have just walked through that there may be some difference? Or do you need some time?
All right, so why don't we start at the top, which would be section 85. Is there an alternative proposal to 90 days?
Not looking so much for a proposal, we were just trying to get your understanding of why 90, what, rather than 60 or 120, just an explanation on, I don't think we're really hung up on it.
I think the proponents of the bill felt that it was workable within a 90-day time frame to begin formal consideration and approve or disapprove. I mean, obviously, the point is to try to move through the process for workforce housing. So 90 days was the way it was proposed to us by the advocates and the governor.
I don't think we'd be opposed to that.
Right. So the next section, the workforce housing definition, hang on, let me get back to merging both versions here.
Representative
All right,
Turcott.
so
Oh,
can I just ask a question on the side by side? Where is the section, maybe I'm missing something, that equates workforce housing to incentives for elderly housing? In the Senate version of the bill, it's section, I believe 83.
Top of page 40, maybe?
Yes, I have it in, okay. So if I could ask why Representative Turcott, you want that deleted? Because I think from our point of view, this is one of the most important pieces of the entire bill.
Yeah, I believe under that paragraph, Senator, that the definition is amended, not that whole section removed, and it was only to the subject to age restriction that we had the issue with, and let me make sure I read this correct. Yeah. I will, is that the part you were asked about, the age restriction itself? If so, I'm gonna have to get back to you when we reconvene to give you the exact response as to
I
why.
think it was section, hang on, I apologize. I'm
Jen.
trying to go between
Do you have this section, Jen?
the Senate version and, yeah, that's what
Yeah,
I'm
that's
looking
what we're
for.
looking
Incentives established for housing for older persons, that goes from 38 on to 39. So bottom
And-
of 38 onto the top.
And that's what you want out, and that's why I'm trying to understand that. Thank you.
Representative Turcott, are you thinking that we need to get back on that?
Yeah, that's what I said before. Yeah, I'm
Yes.
gonna have to get back to you on that
Okay,
one,
fair
exactly.
Senator D'Alessandro, did you have?
Yes.
Okay. Later, yeah.
Page, page 42
That one.
is the next one.
That's where I am too.
Yeah.
So we're at, right now, the top page 42 on the side-by-side here. Um, We're, that's being done by interim study now. You said Representative Turcott?
Yes, Representative Cordelli found the bill. It's actually HB 1389, and it was a bill entitled Superior Court Land Review. And that entire section, according to House Majority Leader Osborne, who's also a co-sponsor of 1389, we believe that is better handled in that bill or a similar bill.
And that's applicable to part 92? Yes, okay.
So, if I could ask a question, Representative Turcott, I think you said you're okay with section 87. And you're okay, I believe, with section 88?
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, and then we get to section 89, which I think is a pretty important section for expedited review in the courts. I mean, obviously, you know, trying to get things done and accomplished. Is there, maybe some common ground that we could get to with slightly longer timeline on this?
Again, Senator, that section there is the section I referred to in House Bill 1389. And Representative Osborne does believe that we could handle that section 89 and 90 better in that venue, that bill.
So you're saying the next biennium?
Exactly.
Okay. And again, I guess I'd ask the same question on section 92. I think if I wrote it down correctly, that was a section you were proposing to strike.
That is correct. Yes. 92, 3, and 94. That's correct.
Need some more? You got some more. Anything else?
I would just say, I think going back, it was section 83. Obviously, you're gonna get back to us, but I would just highlight that the workforce housing and the elderly housing, that is, pretty important to myself, and I think all the senators too. So hopefully we can find a way, maybe some of these other sections are of lesser importance, but that one is very important. So just for your consideration.
Eight- 83
83,
was that,
yeah.
Senator?
We're talking section 83 right now. It's very important to the Senate. Are there further comments on this, Representative Turcott?
No, sir.
Thank you. From the Senate?
It seems to me we should, think about this over the weekend and talk amongst ourselves.
And I would concur with the senator.
And I would also add, and I can't remember the sections in the original bill. I think it was section 4 and 16 of Senate Bill 400. That dealt with inclusionary zoning and the Champion Award. Understanding, I think we had heard that there was opposition on your side to that, and there was some opposition from the Municipal Association to those two sections. Senate dropped those already, so they're not in the Senate version of this amendment on 1661.
Okay, if there's no further discussion on this right now, what we need to do is identify the time which we're going to come back together and meet at a later date. Go ahead, Representative Umberger.
Yeah, the only question that I have is on all the stuff for HHS. They had said that they wanted to go back to misdemeanor. And I was just asking why. I don't have any problem with that change. I don't know if anyone else in the House. Oh, I just said the violation versus the misdemeanor. And that I had no problem with
Right.
that.
I think HHS was going to get back to us with any numbers on misdemeanor issues that had been found.
Oh, that was true. Okay.
I think Mr. Williams may have more.
You're welcome to come up again. We never see you in education, but I see you in the hallways.
Thank you very much. So with some assistance, because it also involves us looking at it also involves us looking, working with collaboratively with others. The information I've been provided is that there, within approximately the last decade, there were 2 incidents where there was at least primarily a charge arising from that statute. It was converted to another charge eventually, but both of the 2 charges that were brought forward under it died in the process. They were either null proster, they did not make their way to an actual conviction. So the numbers were 2 charges apparently, and then none of them resulted in a conviction.
That's what we're dealing with.
Which may speak volumes of the fact, because it is a criminal offense and it shows the importance of confidentiality relative to child protection cases. If you are to reduce it to a violation, it's just something for the committee to consider in terms of, it seems that the law is working currently in terms of at least charge offenses for that as a misdemeanor. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Certainly we'll take that into consideration. Pardon me? I can't hear.
I'll check with person.
Okay. Any further discussion on 1661 now before we Representative Hennessy, do you have days which are good for you or to meet? Let's try and get something here. Took me an hour today just to try to schedule one meeting.
Thank you for the question.
Yeah.
How about 11 a.m. on Monday or noon?
You should be done your education meetings by, they're going half hour in lengths. I understand.
Okay.
Is Monday good, or you're looking?
11:30 is the new proposal.
11 looks good for me. Or 11:30.
On, we're talking Monday. 11:30 is fine with me. How about Lou? Jeb? Okay, we'll set the next one for 11:30 on the 16th. Hopefully we'll have air conditioning by then. Hope. Anything further for Representative Berger?
Yes, let's just be clear what we need to come back on Monday for,
Okay.
okay? We've got some issues with 400, which is all of that. On all of the stuff for HHS, we had one problem there. The Senate had acceded to the House, but we still need to solve that problem. Is that correct?
I think that we just need an amendment to reflect the House version from your committee and Representative Pearson's committee, which the department has agreed to. So I think on 400, the only issue is whether we're going to change to a violation versus a misdemeanor. I believe that's the only issue for us. And we'll accede to everything, Representative Umberger, that the House did, and then just try to iron out that one issue of misdemeanor violation.
Okay.
Yeah, if I also understand, I know you basically ITL'd the House position. Is that right or wrong? Yeah, I think so. I don't know. But anyhow, we did have an additional amendment that was part of the House position. And did you want to go over that, Representative Turcott?
No, we already spoke about that a little earlier, and Senator Bradley mentioned that he thought they were unable to go with that. That is the amendment, like we talked about before, HB 430, we sent, SB 430, sorry, that we sent to the Senate, and that was non-concurred, and that's how the 430 ended up attached to 1661, the Senate version.
Okay, so
And I apologize, but I can't remember what that bill was. 1040, 1044? 1044, yeah.
That
That's
sounds
what we
right.
non-concurred with.
That sounds
Thank you.
pretty good.
You have all the information you need, Representative Umberger? Well, yeah, that we can get today.
and we're going to, we're holding on the parking garage, if I'm not mistaken, so we need to come to grips with that before Monday.
Is there any issue with the parking garage?
Nope.
I didn't hear there was any issues regarding the parking garage.
There
It-
isn't.
It's the dollars associated with the parking garage, as I understand it. And that's a discussion.
I think Representative Alberger and I might want to have an offline conversation about this.
Yeah, yeah. We have 9.35 million there in that bill. So that's where we'll leave it for today, and you can have that discussion, Representative Umberger, with Senator Bradley.
Okay. So we've got, what, one amendment to do on HHS? Is that correct?
I think maybe the easiest way to resolve this is if you're a very able committee assistant researcher comes in with an amendment that reflects the House version of Senate Bill 430 as approved by both the House HHS committee and Representative Umberger's committee, then we'll decide on violation or misdemeanor, but I think everything else is good to go. So if we had that amendment, we should be able to resolve that on Monday.
So you'd fold in this amendment right here regarding the CTE with the other, okay. Okay, is there, I see your mic on down there, Representative Turcott. Do you have anything? Okay, okay, you're good. Okay, so it looks like we are where we leave it today. This and come to motion hopefully 11:30 morning. And Senator Alexander said he's going to bring donuts. I'm glad that UNH or Brad will do that for Norno, Brad. Okay, thank you so much. So with that, we'll call this meeting done for today, and we'll gather everybody together on Monday. We'll recess, hopefully. Push your button, So we'll recess this meeting until Monday morning at 11:30 here in the same location. Thank you.